first of all, again, thank you so much, Smita, and thank you whole Pune Tech community for organizing such a great event for all the women in technology whoever keeps on working on Microsoft Tech. So I'm glad to share this stage with Divya, Gomati, and Bhargavi alongside me. So please stay tuned till the end of the event, and I'm sure you're going to learn a lot of things from each of the women speaker today. My topic is very, very interesting. I think you all would have heard about Copilot as of now. I mean, irrespective of where you have heard this, in which service this falls into, but Copilot, everyone knows that, hey, this is a large language model. It is kind of a bot interface where you can maybe ask questions in your natural language, and it is going to either generate a text for you, or it is going to generate an image, or you can do a lot of things, with that Copilot. Today what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover a very short demo for you all, wherein I'm going to build a co-pilot, and that co-pilot is going to interact with the data which is residing in SharePoint. As of now, you might all have seen the videos about using public websites, building your co-pilot using that right inside your co-pilot studio. Then I thought maybe let's do some good activity wherein you also get to know about how you can authenticate a few of the websites when it comes to SharePoint as a resource, because SharePoint needs authentication, how that authentication can be formed, and how you can start building your own co-pilots if you have some data residing in SharePoint. If not SharePoint, maybe some other data source, either it can be SQL or Dataverse. Then how would you do that? So we'll come to that. As usual, I keep very minimal slides in all my presentations and demo. Presentations and talk, and I always jump to the demo. So what I have for you is, I think Smita just introduced me. My name is Shrushti Shah, and I work as a technical consultant. I almost have more than 6.5 years of experience, and I keep on working on majorly on Microsoft technology like Power Platform, SharePoint, Teams, or Azure. So you can find all my blogs in my website. Also, I keep on taking sessions across global or India level. So I keep on just sharing some knowledge in this community. Apart from that, I'm also a Microsoft MVP, which I missed. My bad. But yeah, coming to the agenda. So what I have is we are going to quickly check about Copilot Studio. I will skip this slides because I want you all to be familiar with the studio rather than just the text which is noted down here. So what I'll do is I'll go to the slides. Yes. So let me just go back to my power. Yeah. Okay. So what you need to go ahead and start creating your Copilot using Copilot Studio. One thing is definitely you will need Copilot Studio license. And now you will ask me, hey, I don't have Copilot Studio license. How can I get that? So what you can do is just type in Copilot Studio free trial license, just a layman language, right? All you will get is sign up for a Copilot Studio trial. Just hit that button and maybe you can now be part of, I think, sign up page. Yeah, just go there. A great documentation indeed. You can just go there as well. Once you are done with that, all you have to do is just integrate your account, which should be your Microsoft account or demo account. This will not accept your Gmail or Outlook account. So just make sure that you are using the correct accounts, Microsoft One. And once you are done, just get started. Click on Get Started, and you will land up with getting a Copilot Studio like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Power Platform, so you will understand it where Copilot Studio you will see. So if you see, this is the Power Platform, our normal make.powerapps.com, wherein I just click on more, and I'm going to click on chatbots. So for those who are familiar with Power Virtual Agent, now Power Virtual Agent is part of Copilot Studio, and Power Virtual Agents are called as Copilot. So make sure that you use the wording called as Copilot, because Power Virtual Agent no longer is the correct way to name your bots. Okay. So this is now the chatbots. This is the home for your chatbot, where you will find all the Copilots which you have created, and also you can create a new one. So let's just pick a new one. This is the interface you land up at, and you can just name your copilot. I will say welcome woman or inspiring woman. Let's just keep it. Okay. and I can just select any language which I speak. As of now, I will just keep it English because everyone understands English today. So I'll just keep it here. And next section which you have to focus on is where is your data residing? And now this box which you see here has that power of generative AI. You can see give your copilot some knowledge by setting up your generative AI. Now either it can be your public website like example learn.microsoft.com, the simple website which is publicly available, or it can be your SharePoint or private websites which should have some authentication intact. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my SharePoint and I'll pick up this site. I'll go to my Copilot. I think I lost where it was. So many tabs are open. I'll close each one of them that I don't distract myself. Yeah, just close this one. Okay. I'll give my SharePoint website here. Once I'm done with this, you can also go ahead and look out for advanced options. So now what this Copilot Studio needs is definitely one is license and one is your environment where you're creating this Copilot should also have the Dataverse license. If it would have been the case that this environment where I'm creating Copilot Studio did not have Dataverse, then I would never be able to create Copilot. So Dataverse is compulsory. The license is needed for you to go ahead and create copilots in Copilot Studio. I'll hit create and it will take few seconds to set this up and you'll have your copilot ready. But can we chat with the copilot? Let's see that. As of now, what we have done is we have just added a SharePoint website for the Copilot to query. Now, whatever I'll ask to this Copilot related to that SharePoint or whatever data is in SharePoint, it should respond me, right? That is the ideal goal. It should respond based on the questions which I ask, and that data should be present in the SharePoint. Now, I haven't done anything, right? I just created the Copilot, and I'm going to start asking questions. Can you give me some information about Microsoft AI Tour? And why specific this question I'm asking, I'll come to that. So I'll go to my SharePoint, this. If I go to the home page, I'll go to the site contents. I have a site page called as Microsoft AI Tour, in which I've given us very small information about what Microsoft AI Tour is, what are the documentations which it can find, etc. So because it is, related to this data source, see, it is giving me, yes, I can give you some information, and this is the information. Microsoft AI Tour is exclusive one-day event where you can, yeah, and there is also one reference. And if you see, let me just pick this reference up, and it will directly give me that exact reference from where it was able to pull that information. Now, I'll keep the tracking on, okay, and I'm going to ask Copilot how can how efficiently how can I write prompts efficiently. Now, this question I'm asking because I have added few of the files in my document library related to prompt guides. So let's see whether it is able to respond. This way we are checking that, hey, I gave the root site, which is the root SharePoint site, and inside that site, whatever information it is, any end user can go ahead and start querying that information, and whether they'll get that back or not, this is the response. So as I asked a simple question, can I write prompts efficiently? It gave me the information that, hey, yes, you can write. What efficiency you have to maintain in terms of punctuation, accuracy, prompt writing, and the guides. So if you see below, Copilot prompt. This was one document from where it was able to fetch that. The next is different AI Builder prompting guide. So this is the reference of the gist which it gave me. Now, another important thing here. As you can see, I just turned on the tracking. Where exactly this conversation is going and from where I'm getting the information. I did not even create one topic which is, hey, this will be my trigger, this is your response. That chain building, action building, I did not do anything. So, what exactly Copilot is doing behind the scenes? Let's just go ahead and see that. If you see from the right hand side panel, there is a conversation booster topic, which is by default, it will be in your environment where you can find that. All you have to do is go to the generative AI section. You should see that there is a website which is already added. Now make sure that whenever you add websites or any publicly available sites, it should not go beyond two slashes. So this is the maximum you can give as of now. So this is my root site. I can't add. So let me just pick up the document library and go back here. It will throw me an error. The website can't be found with this file extension. If I just remove this, still it will give me error. Why? Because I can only go two levels deep, which is slash sites slash the site name. Next, you can't go ahead and give it. So right now it is created in such a way that you can only give the root or till two slashes. Next, you can't. But if you want to directly upload some of the files, then you can do that along with this website. You can also upload some files up to 3 MB per file. You can do that. Just click and you can upload, and it will also start fetching the data from that file whenever you will query. Next section is content moderation. So because AI has coupled our lives so tightly that we have to take some measures. So in terms of taking measures, how you can uh, take that measure, like whenever bot or copilot responds me back, or whenever an end user is asking some question, that should be moderated from both the ends, also from the bot end and also from the end user perspective, and end user when they are typing in the query or writing the prompt. How will that be maintained? By using content moderation. And this is what you find the feature here, like you can have low, medium, or high content moderation types. High means whenever someone types in any words which are not ethically right, and this will be definitely vanished, or Copilot will not be able to just recognize that. It will give some response that this is incorrect, or rewrite your phrases. So it never takes your prompt, that value, into their language models. Otherwise, that can start interrupting the data. Hence, you have to make sure that whenever you create Copilot, it should follow the responsible AI principles. And one such thing is content moderation as well. Also, it is advisory that you have the high level of content moderator in place whenever you create copilots. Next, we were talking about booster, right? Conversation booster. Where can I find that? I'll go to the extend copilot preview, and here in the conversational plugin, okay, my bad, sorry, in the topics and plugins area, you'll see that there is new system topic. All these are system generated topics. One is conversational boosting. Now, what conversational boosting does is, let's just see, it uses generative answers. Now, what exactly is generative answer? What you should pass in is in as an input, and what it will give a output. So in the generative answer section, all you do is you link a data source. If you see this generative answer action which is added, it just takes input from the user, which is their normal prompt, and it is going to the data source. In our case, the data source is SharePoint, and it is trying to find the information from the data source and passing in the value. So see, the answer, if bot is able to respond, then it will just give it back. If not, then there are multiple conditions, and then it ends the topic. So this is where our conversation is going. Let's just go ahead and ask one more thing. How can I create Canvas apps in Power Apps or in Power Platform? Let's just hit. As the tracking is on, see, it is able to now hit the trigger. The trigger is went away. Now it is inside create generative answers. It will go to my data source and try to fetch the information if there is any. There is an information, and how it is able to get that information. I'll go to the SharePoint. In the document library, I have Power Platform documentation of Power Apps and Power Automate, from where it is able to find that information. But you also see one thing which is incorrect, which is references. Now, the file which I've added in the document library is beyond certain MB. Like the file which I've added here, this file is of 400 MB, which is for Power Apps Maker, and this file is also 400 MB. Maybe I have to check this with Microsoft, but the reference is incorrect due to the limited size of file, because it is too big. Hence, it was not able to fetch it here in the references. But yeah, this is still an open bug which I need to check. But this is how the response is correct 100%, but the references are incorrect as of now. So this is a point which you should make a note of it, because for other queries which we did, right, it was able to give the correct references. While for this one, because the file size was too big and each message has its own size, hence it is not able to fetch that. But either, so without reverting back from a topic, here if you can see, it went to the generative answer, and according to some conditions, yes, it was able to find that information in SharePoint or probably this OneDrive. For our case, it was SharePoint, and then it just gave the answer, and the topic is end, done. So this is how, in inside or behind the scenes, what Copilot is doing is it is just using Conversation Booster. Now, what you can say is, maybe I don't want to use Conversation Booster. I want to use create generative answers in my own separate topic. You can do that. All you have to do is just go to the topics and plugins, create a new topic from blank or from Copilot as you wish. Just add some triggers based on your trigger. You just have to hit on advanced options and you will find generative answer action here. All you do is just enter or adjust the inputs and outputs. Just add the inputs, add the data source. In the data source, you can add public website, SharePoint, and add connections. Whenever I talk about SharePoint, you also have to make sure that you have permission on that SharePoint. Right now, I have permission on my SharePoint, hence I am able to fetch that information. Let's say I don't have information on my SharePoint, then how will this Copilot respond? If you don't have access to the SharePoint, or you just have access to some data which is non-confidential, and some other folks have access where it is confidential, then it totally respects your permissioning model. If you don't have, it will not give the answer. If you have permission, it will give the answer. For those who don't have the permission, they'll just see, please retry, try phrasing it in the correct fashion, or try rephrasing your prompt. It will just throw that. Now, coming back to the other important aspect, authentication. As I am using SharePoint, how will it be authenticated? Definitely, you have to authenticate using your connections. That is one thing. Next is, let's say I want to make this Copilot live for all the users to use it. How they can use it? You go to your, where is my integration? Channels. Just let me leave this space. Yeah. I'll go to the channels and I can integrate with Teams, Copilot, or demo website, as you can see from the screen. One thing you have to keep in mind is, before you start and integrate with Teams or demo website, you have to also manage the authentication. Go to the security. In the authentication space, you see there is three different type of authentication. One is no authentication, only for Teams and Power Apps. Other is manual. For all the sites which are like SharePoint or private websites, it is advised that you should use manual one. So let's say I'm going to deploy this to my custom website, right? Custom, we will try it with the custom demo website. Then you have to go into your Azure Active Directory, create a app registration, pick the client ID, client secret, and also just pick this redirect URI. Go to your app registration. Let me just pick that one up. Let me just. What I'll do is I'll go to my app registrations and I will go to the Copilot authentication. This is one which I already provisioned. You can get the client ID, client secret. You should have the client secret created from here. Once you are done doing that, go to the authentication, add the redirect URI. This you will find it from the here. This is the redirect URI. Copy it, add it there, and also make sure to add site.read.all and files.read.all. Once you are done setting this up, hit save and you are ready to go. Now you can use this and publish this and use it either in any of the demo website or in any custom website. Let's just close this and look at one which I already have. I'll go to the Copilots and I'll pick this up and I'll show you the authentication, security. You see there is a button now called as login, which we were not able to see it in the last use case. If I click on authentication, you see all the information is added here with the correct details. I'll click, and because it's already live, I'll go to the channels, demo website, pick this up, paste it here. This is my bot added to a demo website. It will show me a login button. Now I'll have to log in, copy the code, add it here, done. My bot is ready to use. Now, what are the types of workflow which I can create in Power Automate? Let's just wait. Awesome. This is done. It responded me with the answer, but this time you see it is just giving me the page URL where I've added the document library, but it did not give me the reference of the document from where this information was. So this is how it is. You can just go ahead, integrate your Copilot with the SharePoint, and let's say your SharePoint has some data, you can directly fetch that information. Your end users can fetch it. Now there are two things which you should keep in mind. Whenever we talk about Copilot, Copilot licensing is only needed when someone is building and managing that Copilot. So as you can see, I'm in the Copilot studio because let's just go ahead and look at the Copilot sharing capabilities. Share. Here, by default, it is shared with everyone in your tenant, while you are the owner. Who is creating is the owner. You can also make co-owners, like let's just say Megan. You can also make Megan co-owner. See, these are the type of permissions which you can manage. Next is, let's say your end user just want to use the Copilot which you have built and it is live, it is sitting in Teams. They don't need any license. All you have to do is they just need the correct permission. If the data is residing in SharePoint, they need permission to the SharePoint. And let maybe there are few libraries which they don't need access to, but while others need, that permissioning can stay intact. If I just go, and I have already done this for one of the use case, permissioning is bang on, it is there, and you don't have to worry about permissioning at all. It will just give you normal example, like normal response back that try rephrasing it because it never able to find information for that end user. Hence, you can go ahead and use this directly for your end user, and they don't need any license. Only the one who are going to build it, they will need the licensing. Another important thing before I miss out, before I close today's session, is let's say I don't have data in SharePoint, but I have it in SQL or Dataverse. How can I go ahead and build Copilot to query the data from there as well? For that, you need to build custom plugins. So let's go and just pick one which I have for now. Open. If I have data in SQL or Dataverse or any other data source, you just have to go to your plugins, plugin action. Here you'll have to create SQL Server. So for SQL, these are the actions or connectors which are supported as of now in the Copilot Studio. Like you can execute a SQL query, and this SQL query can be anything, like normal query which we write. You can execute that. You can delete some data. You can get some data. So each action. So let's say get row, because I don't have premium license. This will not allow me. Let's just go and look the input and output. Just configure the inputs for SQL. Create. I don't have, yeah. So it will not give me a go ahead, but we can try with Dataverse. Yeah, get a row from Excel, normal. Just to show you all how you can configure input and output. Here it will take your authentication. Once it is authenticated, these are the three things. This is your final action. You can open in the code editor as well, or else you can edit your normal action name, description, and these are the action details. Edit this. Once you just don't want to edit, then don't edit. If just go ahead and edit the action. Okay, I think input and output. Yeah, here is the inputs. So in the input, as you can see, as of now, there are how many inputs which are required? Seven inputs. All are required. One is source, like where is your SQL source server, drive, file, table. Sorry, this is Excel, not SQL. Where is your Excel file located at? The drive location, the file name, table name, ID column, and ID, the exact value from where it will find, and the data format. For each input, it is taking dynamically fill. So what this means is whenever your user will query that get me the row from so and so Excel or so and so file, it will start asking questions that give me the table name, give me the file, give me the location, all these seven uh, inputs which you see, it will ask the user and user can input it. It takes the exact user response. See, user's entire response. It will take that exact response and it will give back to the action, and the action will take this, and this is kind of your a connector configuration, just like what we do in Power Automate. When you want to get item from the site, you give site URL, site list, library from where it has to find that information. Same you are doing it here. Once you are done configuring this, if you don't want bot to ask questions, you can set the static value as well from your, just like SharePoint side, it will be static definitely. It doesn't have to be dynamic, but the IDs and such information can stay dynamic. Once you are done, hit save. And if you want to configure output, you can configure outputs as well, because if you want to run take this output value and chain it ahead with some other conversation, below conversation, ongoing conversation, you can do that. Once you are done, hit finish, and your action will look like a separate topic. But if you want, you can create a separate topic, add trigger on which this action will be triggered. If you don't do that, so it is fine. This action will always be called. How? Because we have given the name and description for each action. Whenever it will find that relevant information that it is asking get row from Excel, this will hit on its own this Excel, because you saw, right, there was the name and description which was given, and this is what model takes to identify. This is normal information. Get row using column key, get row. This information it will take and trigger on its own. But if you want to create a separate topic for each, you can go ahead and do that. Once you are done creating this plugin actions and configuring it, maybe you can create one topic wherein all the information like get, delete, read, update will stay in one topic based on something, whichever logic you want to build, some chaining conversation or parallel branching, you can do that. And then you have one topic which will be for which will hold the data of SQL, and it will give the user the liberty to get data from SQL, update, delete, only if you give them the required permission which they have. So this is whole in whole. You can do create copilots with any of the data source, not necessarily SharePoint or public website or Dataverse. Any data source you can have. If you have some third party data source, then maybe good to create custom connector, and you can add custom connector as a plugin as well. Right from here, you have the option to also see custom connectors. So this is how the copilots can be built on top of any data source which you want. So this was one short example with SharePoint. Okay, yeah, I'm already running on top of time, but I'll just conclude my session saying that thank you so much. And if you have any queries, I'll be there available in the chat. You can reach out and I'm happy to answer.